Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right. Man, I love you all on this beautiful day. Look at the sun just radiant in the sky, right? Man, I love you all. Thank you all for helping to continue to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Man. Um, All right, it's almost a breathtaking day, just beautiful and picturesque indeed. Um, Moving forward, I wanted to discuss a topic um, that I find interesting to contemplate. Right? All right, so I'm always talking about the fact that our solar system is in fact in a new area of the galaxy. This area of the galaxy harbors energies and exposes us to energies that are quite profound and transforming indeed, right? Uh, Also, uh, with us being exposed to these transformative and powerful energies, we find that we are exposed to energies that are, in fact, enabling us uh, to ascend to higher thought forms, right? Higher, utilizing higher brain waves like theta waves, etc., on a far more regular basis. And that certainly can be construed as a marker of us beginning to evolve into higher consciousness, right? Um, so, what does that look like? And with that in mind, I pose the question, what if we began to think a little bit differently, right? With all that in mind, what if we began to think a little bit differently? And, there's some obvious things that come to mind, like I speak about unity consciousness, each individual being much more cognizant and aware of their impact on the collective and how the collective plays its role in their lives, right? And how it's a symbiotic relationship, not only with each individual human being and the collective of humanity, but with each individual human being and the collective of nature and creation, right? All of existence. There's a relationship there, right? Um, so one would naturally begin to expound on that thought, but what are some other things, right? Um, in fact, how about some things that are maybe a little bit more mundane, right? Or maybe a little bit more practical, like health, for example. Folks, you'll find many in the medical community even that will admit, perhaps sometimes it would be necessary to be behind closed doors. I'm not certain, depends on the individual, but that would admit that human beings dying or having an average lifespan in the 80s, or so is not in line with how human beings are actually designed, right? The way our bodies should work, we should easily last to be 120, right? Is the apparent consensus right now, that's an age they're resting on. I'm just waiting around. It'll go up. um, And there are those in the metaphysical community who would certainly make argument that we can overcome the capping of our telomeres and extend our lifetimes even even far beyond that. But just keeping it, as practical and mundane as possible. We'll stick with the 120, right? That's pretty well accepted. Okay, so think about that, folks. Automatically at 120, our concept of what middle aged is very different from when you're only expecting to live 75, 80 years in a good life, right? Uh, if that's the case, then middle age is in your late 30s, early 40s, right? But if you're expected to live 120 or so, if you're expecting that of yourself and you're living accordingly, middle age is a whole nother number, right? Right? You're looking at in your 60s now. So, just with that in mind, what practical day to day ways would we change our thinking, right? Would we would we find ourselves perhaps viewing things with a bit different mentality, like a mentality that sees a bit more of the long game, so to speak, right? A mentality that thinks in terms of longevity rather than YOLO. Not that we shouldn't be living our lives to the fullest all the time anyway. Um, but what if we viewed ourselves as not having such short lifetimes? And in fact, that bore out to fruition. And the average lifespan of the human being is much higher, right? Well, if that's the case, then it seems natural that we would be a lot more patient, right? That we'd be, as a result of being more patient, a lot more observant, right? That we give ourselves more opportunities to apply wisdom. What's up, bro? And in doing so, think of the changes that we could and would apply to our society and our new paradigm where we're thinking a little bit different. How profound when applied to each and every institution that affects our everyday lives, right? With that new mentality applied to our approach to education, right? That new mentality applied to agriculture and how we feed ourselves, right? That new mentality or mindset applied to how we administer, how we view, how we even construct our governments, right? Uh, all of these things, every single institution that affects our everyday lives, dare I say, how we deal with each other in spirituality or in a religious environment or spiritual environment, right? How how much more tolerant could we learn to be, right? When we realize if we administer a little bit of patience, thinking a little bit differently, what sort of difference that could make, right? Both in your average everyday life and worldwide, right? How much would the world change if we just began to think even a little bit differently, let alone take major strides as we surge forward every single day, consciously manifesting our new paradigm, one of peace, love, respect. You know I was going to say it. Man, I love you all. That's the truth, right? Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. We're doing it. We're forging our new paradigm. We can't stop now. I'm out.